Well, hey everyone. I hope you are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. And, in our show, we focus so much on the courage to start a business, the courage to grow and scale a business, to do a startup, to do an IPO, to do a Series A. Oh my gosh, to how do you go to an exit? And I know many of you, wherever you are in the world right now, I think we're in over 90 countries, you're in one of the few places you're thinking of starting a business. So you listen to the show so you can figure out how to do that, or you already have a business and maybe you're thinking, how do I grow it? How do I scale it? Do I pivot it? Or you are in a position where you're thinking, well, I kind of have a business, maybe I need to exit it. So we focus in the show in productivity, financial, just being, not being an idiot with your money, having a very balanced, focused, productive life. And so a couple of quick announcements before we get into today's show. On September 10th, I am teaching my signature program, Organize Your Life. Now, during 6 weeks, we focus on your finances, your relationships. Yes, even relationships need to be organized. I actually get messages saying that I save people's marriages. I'm not a marriage expert, but believe me, when you schedule things like date nights and other things and they become a priority, it's amazing how your life begins to fall into order. You can check it out on susansly.com, and that's September 10th. And there is a very good chance, my friends, that this is the last time I'm going to be teaching this live. And I do live interactive coaching. I've put thousands of people through the program, susansly.com. Check it out there. All right. So today, my guest is one of my favorite people on the planet. This is his second time on the show. So you'll have to check out his first show. And so much has happened since the first time he came on the show, and just a little bit of an update and a background. So in addition to graduating from Arizona State University, even though he looks way younger than this, several years ago, let's say, he has designed amazing technology for Wells Fargo, American Express. He is the founder, one of the original founders of RadiusAI, which is an artificial intelligence company that is focusing on real-time video analytics, which is very, very cool. And I'm so happy to say I get to work with him every single day because I am also a co-founder now of RadiusAI. And so my guest today is an absolutely amazing human being. And I was just saying to my husband this morning when we were out on our run, I said, no one that I know has a bigger heart or believes in people more than Mr. Jeff Cox. So Jeff, it's great to have you back.
Hey, thank you, Susan. And I got a nice, healthy quote for you about how are you doing, how you feeling. So I love this one, and I know you know it, but if I were feeling any better with myself and my company, vitamins would be taking me. So there you go. That's a good one for you with all your healthy living. And I got to say, working with you every day has been amazing because I went through my whole health thing and I took a little break because I've been so busy with the company, and now I'm getting back onto it. So thank you for being an inspiration to me health-wise and also in my work life.
Well, thank you. And I'm so excited. Jeff and I talk every single day, and but it's fun for the world to kind of just bring the world and the listeners into some of these conversations. So let's start here. The last time you were here was actually last year.
Yes.
And Radius is in a whole different place, closing out a funding round, getting ready to go to Series A, very focused on specific verticals. Why don't you give everyone an update of what's going on with Radius now?
Yeah, fantastic. So we did the show last September, and at that point we were in the middle of doing some changes. And so we have our AI, we have our tracker technology that we created, and it can go into so many different verticals. And through that, we had an opportunity to move from doing smart cities into smart retail. And it made a lot more sense to us at the moment, or at that point in time, mainly because it seems like when you're a startup and doing work with governments, they're on a little bit slower of a time frame than businesses. So businesses doing business to business, it made more sense for the company. It made more sense for the investors. And sometimes with a startup, you have a captain of a boat, and they set course for a place, and all of a sudden an iceberg comes, what do? Do you keep going straight ahead, or no, you have to talk to the crew, hey, we're gonna have to go off course here for a little bit, and all of a sudden then you find an island that actually has better land, more grass, more animals, more a better place to live, better climate, better temperature. And it's like, well, hey, we're gonna use the naughty word of pivot here, which a lot of people don't like, but we did that, and it made sense. And at that point, talking to you, you're like, I love smart retail, this whole play, all the other possibilities doing with the company at that point, and we got you to join us, and it's just been an amazing year.
Well, thanks. So many people, Jeff, they're like, oh, startup, right? And it sounds so sexy. It's challenging. Can you talk about like, what is one of the biggest challenges that you faced in building this company, and how have you overcome that?
That is an amazing question, because there's so many people in corporate America. I've done consulting, worked a lot in corporate America, learned a lot of right ways to do things, a lot of wrong ways to do things, and a lot of people, they want to do it, but they cannot take the risk. They're not, because doing a startup, you have to have the right people, and when it's your company, you have to do whatever it takes to make sure it succeeds. And a lot of people in corporate America, if something's not working out, there's some of these big companies, there's a reorg every year. You sometimes fall on the right side of a reorg, the wrong side. You get a new boss who just doesn't like you or feels threatened by you. A new boss will not want you to be part of meetings because he doesn't want you to leapfrog him because he's been stuck in the same position for a long time. I mean, all these things happen, and you get people that are just comfortable, and they see that there might be a gold watch at the end. But now with today's climate and the world today, it seems like, yeah, because of these reorgs and the buyouts, people no longer have the job security that they have. And for me, I've seen the same things, a lot of companies, and you start out with great boss and you start out with the right intentions and the great group, but then things change within a year a lot of times. And then it's like, so I've fired myself from many jobs where it's just like, all right, it's time to move on. And the good thing is I met a lot of great people through all of my years working in corporate America. And from that was where I knew, starting a business with Bobby Chowdhury, who's just an amazing human being, one of the smartest people I know, knowing that we had each other's backs no matter what, and building technology where everything that we knew we could do would be years ahead of other companies. So we decided to do this. And then from that, we were able to surround ourselves with smart people. And so a lot of these people, they have these ideas and these technologies. They do so much work on the side. They want to do it for a startup company where they can get a piece of the pie and to have an exit and have something, rather than do a patent for a Fortune 500 company where they really get nothing out of it. So this is the whole methodology of Silicon Valley. Why do these people go to San Francisco? Why do they want to live in 400 square foot apartments? And because they want to be part of something, they want to put their heart and soul into something. And then rather than get wealthy on the salary, they hope to get wealthy on the stock options upon the exit. So that's it. So if some of these people, I know plenty of amazing managers that are still in corporate America, they couldn't take the risk. So many technology people that are in corporate America still, a lot of them, they call me up like, hey, I just want to tell you what happened. But they still can't leave. They're making good enough money. So their idea is to get wealthy slowly, but they just can't take the risk. Their spouse doesn't want them to, their kids, they don't want to travel. They want to be with their kids, which are all amazing reasons for doing it. So it's tough to get the right crowd, the smart crowd, the right people. And the hardest thing I can say is to bring the right people to do a startup company, because there's so many ups and downs, and there's so many things you have to change when you're small and getting bigger, that it's pretty easy to fall apart.
You shared so much, right? And I love the analogies too, because it does take a lot of guts, and everyone loves that story, or they think, oh, I wish I would have. And one of my friends once said, in our life, we have conversations of celebration or conversations of regret. And which one do you want to spend the majority of your life having? Conversations of celebration, right? And let's talk about the work, because the work doesn't end. Do you, tell everyone how many hours in terms of building a startup versus working in corporate America? Which one do you work more in?
And I love that. I went a year and a half without making a dollar putting this company together. And so doing it, and it was right after a divorce, and it was to a point where my ex-wife, who's a great mom, we have a peaceful split, but she's like, well, maybe you should go deliver pizzas to get a little bit of extra money. And it's down to that point where because the kids want to do some things, I'm like, hey, I'm on total budget mode, and I downsize the house, but if I go deliver pizzas, I will not be able to do my company. But the bigger picture is I'll be fine in a little bit, and of course made things work and made sure the kids were taken care of. So it's a huge challenge, and it's doing it. It's a big risk, and it's not for everybody.
And we on the show, we talk about Dave Ramsey a lot. I'm a huge fan of Dave Ramsey, and so are you. And so are some of the people that we work with at Radius. So we use Dave as an adjective and a verb, right? It's like, I'm Dave Ramseying it.
And I'm in rice and beans mode for a year. And it's so true. I love the guy.
Live like no one else, so you can live like no one else. So you saved a bunch of money. So imagine someone listening to this right now. They're like, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to make the sacrifices. I have this great idea. I want to do this. But you were also very deliberate. You saved enough money so you wouldn't take any salary until the company starts funded. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So I was doing consulting up in San Francisco, and had a couple consulting gigs, and I was able to save enough. And now this was also after a divorce, so then I can live in rice and beans mode and not have to disappoint a woman I'm living with. With my kids, I sacrifice me so that way they could play softball, they could have clothes, they could have shoes, I could take them out for their birthday. So the good thing is they love Red Robin and Sombreros, and those aren't very expensive places. So taking them there is a big treat. And then out back to my little one, she thinks that's the greatest restaurant in the world if she could get a little steak there. So you just have to find ways to make each dollar count, which also is great in a startup. We get investment money, we have to take the dollars and hire developers, and then it takes 2 to 3 years before you have a working product that you can sell and bring in revenue. So my lessons in basically my own life and budgeting has really helped with the startup company too.
Well, the thing too, and I love that you said that, because we know people who have attempted startups, not been successful, weren't fiscally responsible. And that leads me to my next question, which is, it's interesting because with Radius, sometimes people go to Series A and they have no revenue coming in, right? Then there are people who go to Series A and have revenue. By the time they get to Series A, they've got enough runway. You and I are all about, making sure the accounting is there, the cash flow is there. And let's talk about, in your opinion, someone listening to this and they're thinking, I really want to build a company. I really want to do this. What do you think are the things that are essential from a mindset perspective? Because I know, you've gone to Tony Robbins, you read a lot of personal development. What are the essential things that a person needs to have the right mindset to be able to do it? Because it's not like, I have this idea and I'm going to be successful. I'm going to raise the money, and within a month I'm going to be living in a mansion. It's not.
No. So the first thing is the founders cannot get wealthy on the salary. You want to get wealthy on the exit, and that's what investors want. So if I were in corporate America right now, I'd be making probably 3 to 4 times what I'm making. And so I'm still in Dave Ramsey mode. I am not spending money. A lot of things that I do. Hey, I have some airline points so I can take a trip. My 4th of July, we went up to Oak Creek Canyon with the family. And through that, we had a big cottage place through my brother-in-law's work. And so there's a lot of ways to maximize your money. So the first thing, of course, is yeah, you're not going to get wealthy on the salary. So the second thing is you have to surround yourself with good people, and then also people with skin in the game. So whether they have their own personal investors, they invest money, they invest time. For example, Bobby and I both started the company, made no money, and I started asking for money, which was money from my family and my immediate accredited investor friends. And it was when we knew the company's going to get ready. Last thing I want to do is take family and friends' money and blow it. And so, and then also, if I did have to meet a client in Vegas, if I did have to do a dinner, I'd put it on my own credit card. So through this whole thing, I ended up getting my credit card up to over 60,000 too for the company, making sure that each dollar was invested right, but also my belief in the company. And I didn't want, okay, if I did have to buy a round of drinks for some clients, and definitely I didn't want to have it be where, hey, you're blowing investor money on a big round of drinks. And there's a couple times each year where you have team meetings and things like this, which is okay, but every single dollar has to be, is this going to be good to have on the books? Is it not going to be okay? But make sure if you sit down with investors, here's how we're spending our money. And so majority of our money is going towards salary. And then we do have an office in Phoenix and San Francisco. So flights, salary are the main. And then of course, technology, it's taken up probably 90% of the budget right there.
Yeah, and let's be clear too, because if you're doing a tech startup, when Jeff's saying salary, like we don't even have an admin assistant. I use an admin assist from one of my businesses, and a graphic designer that work for Radius, essentially, that I pay them from my other companies. When we were talking salary, engineers, data scientists, these guys are all working for a quarter of what they would get.
Yes.
And this is really a credit to you, Jeff, because a great CEO has to be able to cast a vision, rally people around the vision so that they'll work even for a period of time with less money, because they're there for the vision, which is what Simon Sinek talks about. When the why is so clear and it's inspiring, then it rallies people to you. And the thing I would say is, if you're thinking of starting a company, or even, it doesn't matter what kind of business you have, if it's a direct sales business, if it's a brick and mortar business, whatever it is, get clear on that inclusive why people want to rally around you. Because if you're not clear and your why is only about money, you are not going to be successful. We've seen it all the time in corporate America with, corporate greed, and things go sideways. And there's nothing wrong with money. I love what Will Smith says. Money doesn't change who you are. It only amplifies what's already there. Jeff's a really good person. He's just going to do really good things with money. I'm a really good person, right? So it's knowing that and having that understanding and that discernment. Jeff, can you think of maybe like a funny story, something that, makes you laugh in this whole journey of building this company? Because you are a person who just doesn't take yourself seriously. You don't have an ego around it. But can you think of a time when, maybe something is just, funny about what it is?
Well, a few things. I'll circle back on a couple things that you said. So one, you mentioned Tony Robbins. I got to say, and what does it take in the company? And our lead investor said, you got to go to Tony. Went to Business Mastery last year. Things I learned in there, which were great. And you say I have a good heart. And one of the hardest things for me is corporate America. Whenever I had people working for me, if somebody wasn't working out, usually I talked through with them and try to find a nice place for them. When you have a startup company, so here's another thing. You have to, Tony calls it going to gladiator mode. You have to make changes, and you have to do whatever it takes, because you have investor money that you have to make sure is spent the right way. And so doing that whole thing, and everybody, and back to your question, one important thing, you have to make sure you don't lose control of the company, because sometimes some people will try to take it in a certain way that it's not going to work out. And as founders, usually what's going to work out and what's not going to work out. So so that's one thing I wanted to circle back on Tony. We love Tony, we love Dave Ramsey, and as far as funny moments, I got to say that you have to live your life and surround yourself with people that you enjoy working, that you have laughing moments. I know you and I have been able to laugh and cry. We try to get Bobby to laugh sometimes when he's busy coding so much, and talk about a good heart. Bobby has such a good heart, and there's just so many moments with the company of people that we love. I can say somebody. Another person I want to bring out, Jerry Colangelo. I love him. He had no baseball real experience. We had all the Suns experience, put together the great team. With the 2001 Diamondbacks, we won the World Series. Somebody like Luis Gonzalez, who definitely wasn't MVP quality when we got him, doubles hitter, became MVP, amazing hitter, and I see some of our people like that. And so one of our people, I gotta say, that we hired that we didn't know, who his name is Paul, who's just amazing. And then going out and seeing that the guy likes to do karaoke. I mean, and seeing a side of a coder that wants to do karaoke. I mean, it's like so many of these moments are just amazing, where you just got to sit back and see everybody's a person, and certain things you see them coding away and typing, and then, wow, this guy can sing. This guy's really funny on the side too. So
it just reminded me of the two things that came up, because one thing that really, we have a person on the team whose name is also Jeff, and we were all bowling. And I'm the kind of bowler, I like the guards up, like when I go with my kids. And so we're bowling. And it was funny to watch who was taking the bowling really seriously. And then finally, Jeff, who we call JK goes, let's just go for velocity, because you could see how fast the ball was going. And it was hilarious, just in terms of that. And then I thought, just to blow off some steam, we went to Topgolf, and I don't put myself down, but for years I've always said, like, I'm not a good golfer. The last time I golfed, I was pregnant in 1996, and I went to swing the club, and it went out of my hand and narrowly missed the groin of the person I was golfing with. Anyway, that being said, we go to Topgolf, and we have two teams, and I look up on the leaderboard, and there's one guy, and his golfing is like, his score is really good. And I said, that's who needs to teach me. And we just that was so fun. And it's amazing. Like, I think things like that, when you're doing a startup, to just do some things where, people can blow off some steam, can laugh, can just talk about things that are, really, random, and get to know people. Another thing that was going on, like, for the listeners who don't know, there's like a side of me that I'm really like science. Jeff will tell you, AI, vector analysis. I love it all. And JK had sent this, oh my gosh, this is so funny. He had sent this math problem in a like little graphic, and like Instagram shareable. And so he said, do you know what the answer is? And I started sweating, Jeff, because I'm like, is this a test? I'm kind of like his boss. Like, what if I get it wrong? And so anyway, then I started like sharing it with people on Twitter and stuff like that. And I there were two ways to look at the math problem. So I got it right for one way. So I did get a gold star, but I was like literally sweating about that.
I want to add one other funny thing that you and I talked about, and you never know. And you call me up, Susan, you're like, Jeff, I want you to go meet this person. Out of everybody, I want you to meet this person. And it's good. You're very good. If it's a techie person, if somebody maybe has a similar sense of humor to me. And of course, what came up with this person during a lunch was Dumb and Dumber. The movie Dumb and Dumber came up, and how do you connect with somebody? And it was just, I was like, I want to hang out with this person. This person has an amazing sense of humor. So maybe you suspected that in doing it. And I called you up afterwards. I'm like, we talked. What? You're like, what'd you talk about? I'm like, we talked about Dumb and Dumber, of course, with business and everything else, but you never know where business lunch conversation is going to go. But that one was such a fun lunch, and first time I met her, and we laughed and laughed and laughed, both of us did. And then telling you the story, just hearing you laugh too, it's just, those are the moments in work that make it all. Yeah, 'cause sometimes it is 80-hour weeks. You travel, you're away from your kids, you're away from your spouse, away from the person you're dating, and you want to enjoy the people that you're with and try to make sure that you can have some fun too.
How do you, things happen, situations happen. How do you keep yourself positive when things are going sideways? What are, like, someone listening, give them some
Okay.
thing that they could, something tangible.
So one story I like, and I forgot where I read this, but you have two prisoners looking out a prison cell, and one person looks out the window and sees mud. The other person goes out, looks out the same window and says, "Oh my gosh, look at the stars." So what can you do? And I know one thing you and I have talked about is the last season of Game of Thrones. Everybody has complained about it. I'm like, I loved it. It was great. And it's so easy to focus on something bad. Like, I can look at your room right now and say, okay, I don't like that picture up there. That doesn't go with the flowers. Yeah, I mean, there's something. And here you got this amazing, beautiful woman who's so intelligent, so good with people, and so knowledgeable, full of wisdom and positive energy. But I can look at something. I don't know who that picture is, but it doesn't look like it goes well here. And you could look at me right now and you're like, oh my gosh, look at the shadow on your microphone here. Your lighting's not right. You can pick out wrong with everything. And then there's certain people like that if they are just full of negative, I just can't work with them anymore. And it's, so what do I look for now? And a lot of times when I was younger, and I've made mistakes when I'm older too, it's like, okay, somebody's so smart or somebody can do this, but they just don't click with the company. They always seem to put you on defense. They're not bringing positive. And then the other thing I like to say is you can either be a fountain or you can be a drain. What are you? As soon as somebody's a drain, if I'm in charge, they're gone. And of course, I have to talk to other people, and then the other people, it's like, okay, they're breathing life into the company. They're being so good. They're helping everybody. Those are the people we want to promote and keep within. And a lot of times, these people, they're brilliant, they're smart, they're good in somewhere else. But this is our startup company. We cannot let this fail. Somebody who's a drain that has no money, no skin in the game, they don't care. To them, it's just another gig. And if it doesn't work out for me, it's my family's money, my friends' money. You're part of this. You have your money invested, your friends' money. So we got to make the right decision. So there's a completely different mindset. And the thing is this person going to be positive? Are they going to look at the good things? Because no matter what company, no matter where you are, there's always Brian on our team, Brian Campo, who's an amazing man, calls it, every startup has their warts. Are you going to focus on, let's say, we'll take one of your kids who just got straight A's, amazing athletes, and they got a wart on their foot for whatever reason. Is that something you really need to focus on? No, you go to the doctor, you clear it, but it's not something you need to do a Facebook post. Oh my God, look at my kid with a wart. And if all you do is focus on that, it's not positive for anybody. And it just seems like so many people live their life on the negative, always complaining rather than breathing life into something. And you are, Susan, and you've helped me, you've helped so many people within the company. You are so positive. You always edify people. And so everybody is better in this company since you joined. Everybody is better.
Thank you.
And I got to say that helps with my kids too. Things I learned from you helps with my kids, my family, my mom, my dad. I think I'm a much better son. I'm a much better brother. I'm a much better spouse. I'm a much better dad to my stepkids. It's just like there's mistakes everybody has made, but that doesn't need to be the defining moment. And can you learn from it? Can you grow from it? And there's always going to be mistakes. Always going to be mistakes in a startup, in family life, in a relationship. And I got to say, thank you, Susan, for helping me be a better person.
Oh, well, thank you. And the feeling is mutual, Jeff. The working with you every day when you are so positive, and also having the transparent relationship. You know, you'll call me out, I'll call you, and that's, we're in it. And building a startup, you become a family. And that's the whole thing. I sent an email earlier today, and I said, hello, my brothers, right, to our board. And I think it's that understanding. In a family, you're going to fight. You're going to eat together. You're going to, agree sometimes. You're going to disagree. But at the end of the day, I always tell my kids, friends will come and go, but family lasts a lifetime. And a team is a family, and a family is a team. And, it's that when you're, in building the company, it's what's happening now, but where we're going. And my final question is, if you could have a crystal ball, where in your mind would you, love to see the company, say 3 to 5 years from now? What does that look like?
Well, you said money can, make you a better person. Everything will be revealed. So in 3 to 5 years, yes, I hope to have all my debts paid for, and then I'm going to turn into a chocoholic. So I realized, I just got the wedding paid for, the honeymoon paid off, and I went out and I bought a whole bunch of chocolate. So I think money is revealed to be a chocoholic. But
chocolate fountain. Jeff's not a drain; he's a fountain. But he's a chocolate fountain.
I'm gonna go buy a big chocolate fountain, a Willy Wonka chocolate fountain, and maybe put that in my house. My dad jokes aren't for everybody, but where do we want the company? So our company, with our technology, there's so many verticals we can go into. We have our smart retail. We are going into real estate. There's other verticals that we're discussing, and we're keeping those among the board of directors right now, and we're seeing where those go. With AI, what we have is, and that's the other thing, when you ask, what do you need to have in a company? You need to have the right people, but you also, what's your unique proposition? What is unique? We have technology. We have, the patent pendings on our technology, and there's so many things we can go into. So it's one of the discussions I've had with some of the investors. It's like, okay, what do you want to do? What if this company is worth 250 million in a couple of years? Do you sell? What we think the momentum is, and especially we got such a great team, each year we hold on to it. I mean, it could be worth in 3 years of, $1 billion. I mean, these are things that every startup talks about. This is why people do it. And so the difference between 3 and 5 years, and plus with the way technology is going, and where our business partners come in, our proof of concepts, our pilot projects, it could be a completely different company in 3 years or 5 years. But the longer we hold on to it, the more value it will be, which means if between getting a chocolate fountain in 3 years versus buying a whole island with Willy Wonka's factory in 5 years, those are those are the things that again, to add humor to work. So it's just I see investors getting paid off. I see us taking our AI technology, using it for good, and then at the point of what happens in 5 years. This is where we have our board of advisors on where do we go in? Do we keep the company? Do we sell it? These are all things that it's not just my decision. It's not just your decisions. We have people who invested money that we talk to them. When's the right time? So it's going back to the captain and the ship. If we're on a great island and we see another one, well, guess what? Maybe we can expand and be in both islands. And if everybody's happy and the technology is taken off. So if you take Zuckerberg, for example, with Facebook, if in his first year of starting Facebook, he knew he could sell the company for 500 million in 1 year, he probably would have. But now where he is, the company just grew into everything. Same thing with Bezos, with Amazon, originally selling books. And now, I mean, they are, I buy so many products on Amazon because I travel a lot and it's waiting for me when I pick it up. A lot of people thought Amazon was just an online bookstore at the beginning. Where is our technology going to go? And that's the unknown.
Well, a chocolate fountain and a chocolate island. We'll come visit. We'll come visit the
I
island.
might be able to afford some Oompa Loompas too.
Oh, excellent. My kids will dress up like Oompa Loompas. If they can swim in your chocolate fountain, they'll be all good. And I love what you said is just this, we don't know where technology is going. We don't know where AI is going. There are a lot of people having a lot of dialogue on the ethics of AI. When I did the course at MIT, it was, this was a big discussion, the ethics of AI, artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are scared, but ultimately, it's here regardless. And one of the things I love about what we're doing, as you said, is we're using the technology for good, enhancing human experience, using it to really help and grow jobs, not take away from jobs, and just help people do their jobs in a more, in a better way, in a more effective way. So I love that we get to work together. Thank you for being here. And if anyone wants information on RadiusAI, it's radiusai.com. So thanks again, Jeff.
Thank you, Susan.